What if you could use inducements to catch high RR trades like this one that is actually playing on the screen right now? In this video, I will show you exactly how I do it and how I've helped hundreds of other members to do the same and win easy. Let's not waste any more time and let's go make some money. Alright everybody, before we begin, I'd like to be showing you guys this simple showcase on how an inducement actually looks like. Now, make sure you're actually following the trend first. And every single time, if you see yourself a very first breakout looking like this, and a lot of people would probably think it's actually time for the market to change its structure. But in reality, what it's actually doing is just sweeping this liquidity in the middle, right? Sweeping that liquidity in the middle for you to actually take an entry down here in a very clean demand area and to hit the external range liquidity, which is this area right here. Now, there's actually a lot of people sponsoring our take profit. Now, what I mean by sponsoring our take profit, because they are actually providing liquidity for us. Why? Now, there's actually a lot of traders that are looking to sell over here because they always have the idea in their head that the market is actually bearish now. But in reality, we are actually just sweeping liquidity, taking an entry in a very clean demand zone over here and targeting external. So a lot of people are probably expecting when prices are going to be rallying up to the upside, there might be some sells that they might try to take just for them to get taken out, and we are actually hitting our take profits. By the end of this video, you guys are also going to be able to see a live trade signal that I actually did send out, in which I use every single idea or trade principle that I'm teaching you guys right now. Now, before we begin, the first step before you can find your inducements is you're going to be finding yourself your higher time frame direction. Remember, without direction, do not find an entry. Your entry would be very, very bad. So looking into the overall trend of the market from the daily, you can actually just take a look that you want to be primarily focusing on the most recent breakout, which is this breakout right here. You can see that the daily did have a bullish structural break. Now, once you have a bullish structural break in the daily, and we already know the higher time frame bias, it is time for us to go down one time frame lower, which is going to be the H4 for me. So looking into the H4, you can clearly see that market structure looks very clean. Now, if you try to take a look into the line chart, you can see the market is just creating this lows, this highs, this lows, this high. There's barely any candlestick closure indicating that it is time for a bearish move. No, everything was bullish. Now, you might be asking me that what does this one here actually mean? Well, that can be a liquidity stop hunt, because if you try to go to the 1 hour time frame right here, this example is what I mean from what I discussed earlier. You can see that we are actually creating lows, highs, lows, and a breakout right here. And a lot of people would think that it's actually time for a bearish move, but in reality, we're just tapping on a very clean demand level here for a buy. And once prices pump all the way here to the upside, a lot of people were actually looking for sells around this key level, in which they actually got taken out and clean. So the big question is, where is my entry? So what I want you guys to understand is, looking into the H4 alone, we already got that idea that H4 is obviously very bullish. Now, the next step that I actually did take is I went to the 1 hour time frame, and it's time for me to look for an entry. This is the most perfect level to take a look for an entry, because why? We got ourselves a breakout here, a bullish breakout, and then a breakout to the downside, which I would call a liquidity stop hunt or maybe an inducement. And then we have a true breakout to the upside, which is in line with our higher time frame direction. Now, once this happens, you can see that you do have a single leg, another pullback, and another clean impulse. So with that in the way, it was more than enough for me to start looking for a very good sniper entry. So I want you guys to be looking one time frame lower now, which is a 30 minutes, and time to look for an entry. Now, looking at this one alone, we can clearly see that we are creating this leg, right? So what I did, my entire thought process during this time is, I'm like, okay, looking into this level right here, this is the start of the entire impulse to the upside. Now, this point can be an inducement level. I'm sure you're asking me what makes this a valid inducement, because if you try to dive into the 15 minutes time frame, you can see there is a very, very clean demand level in which you can use as a potential area of entry. And you can see that this point can be an inducement level for us to take before our entry. Now, I'm sure you guys are also going to be asking me that there is a very clean level over here for a potential demand area. But here is the thing that I want you guys to understand. Before this level will get tapped right here, this level has to fail first. So before this demand area in the most extreme point to be respected, but my entire thought process here is that this demand level looks very good because of the inducements that's actually above this point of interest. So with that in the way, I told everybody that let us have a limit entry over here with a stop loss of around 40. So you can see that in the screenshot right now that this is going to be my my entry point, like this one, and then my stop loss is all the way down at 2618, right? So with that area, I was actually basing this entry onto this key level, but I did put it a little bit lower. Okay, I think it was from the 50% of the entire zone. So here's the next secret tip that I did use. I used a Fibonacci level within the entire point of interest, and I made sure my entry was between 0.7 and 0.2. So once I did have that entry, I did have it in between to make sure that if we can actually get a sniper entry. So once that happens, right, I was targeting all the way here for the major final TP, but then you can see that you can actually have a target all the way up to 10 RR. Let's just drag it all the way here to the upside like this. A very clean 10 RR trade like this one right here, because the question is, why are you targeting 10 RR? Now you have to understand this one right here. Okay, we are creating constant all-time highs with gold. There's no level on the left side that we can use as a potential resistance point other than psychological levels, which we can use. Psychological levels can be numbers or potential RR targets like 5 RR or 10 RR, and you can see that exactly at 10 RR, which is 400 pips. Now let's try to play this out right now. If you got an entry, we can see a little bit of hovering right here where prices are actually reacting, but don't be worried because this key area is actually an inducement point. You can see that a lot of early buyers are taking an entry in this trade thinking that this is an inducement, but in reality it's the one down below. Now you can see prices are hovering right here. We got tapped into our beautiful sniper entry. Look at that sniper entry right there. Remember, this is actually a limit entry as well. It is actually alerted. So let's try to play this out right now, and you can see that prices came all the way down but didn't tap us on break even and ran all the way to the upside like that. And you can see it exactly at 10 RR. There was actually a big sell-off. I mean, kind of makes sense because this was during the market session closing as well. So that means that a lot of people are taking the profits to end the day in green. Now you can see that we did hit 10 RR. Now there's gonna be popping up in the screen right now for beautiful testimonials for this specific trade that people were also able to take this trade. Then again, if you guys want to gain access to my trades, down in the link in the bio to join, search notify now. And remember, make sure you guys smash the like button and the subscribe button, especially the notification bell, so you guys will get notified for our next videos like this. And I'll be catching you guys on the next one.